All right, I believe we're live. I think we're live.
Let's see.
All right, I believe
Yes,
we are live. Okay, cool.
we are live.
Let's see.
All right, I believe
Yes, we are
Yes.
live.
we are live. Whew. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties this time, but we're good to go. So, yeah. Welcome
Game audio
everybody.
seems a little quiet.
Sorry.
Game audio is a little bit quiet.
Oh, it'll be fine when the text crawls. All right, so hi, I'm IKG Productions. I'm the leader of Team Turnabout. I've basically done work for the project nonstop for like the last 5 days, so I'm pretty tired. But you know what they say, thankless job. So we're back with another stream here, and I've got, again, a different bunch of people who work on Team Turnabout to get some variety. So first, we actually have someone who is returning. Nico, would you like to introduce yourself and say what you do?
I am Nico. I am video editor, video editing department head, animation design, artist. Anything I'm missing, IKG?
Quality assurance, I guess, as
quality
well.
assurance.
Yeah, you do a lot
Yeah.
of good stuff. And next we have James, Captain Swag.
Hey, how's it going? I am the department head of the animation design team, and that's basically all I do. I just do some animations, I design them. I don't actually design them, I just basically load them and then make rips. And that's what I do, and I advise all the other people in various different techniques on how to do that. And also, IKG, I think the phrase you were looking for earlier, rather than thankless job, is the best never rest.
Ooh, I like that. Very good. And next we have
maybe-
Dark Detective. Please introduce yourself.
I'm a video editor.
He is.
Wow, okay.
Can confirm.
And Zach.
I'm not affiliated with any real department. I just say the Drew Misham line.
Which means you are a voice actor. Okay. I made a bit of a mistake. I seem to be doing a terrible job with the team lately because every day I'm making errors. And today I realized that I don't have Turnabout Samurai unlocked.
Whoops.
So
That's fine.
I'm not
Yeah.
changing the
This case is
thumbnail
good.
now. So here we go.
This,
Yeah, if you consulted with me, I could have given you the save
it's
files.
fine. This case is good too.
I believe we already sampled this case. Is that correct?
No, we haven't.
We haven't? Okay, good. Oh boy. I'm sorry, guys. I just...
Yep. The case in which Mia Fey was murdered by Dee Vasquez. Of course.
Yeah, we're...
Wearing a very good disguise.
Yeah, it's some sort of alteration.
With the thinker.
Yes. Yep. It's pretty embarrassing.
It's a live stream. If you want to see the quality content, you come for Team Turnabout or the Shield of Justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the live streams are just where IKG fails. But
It's where everyone fails.
I said no. I failed all of the times. Literally all of the times I have failed. If it happened, I did it. Like that time I set the entire world on fire by accident.
Oof. Dang. Well, you know what? Mia just failed at being alive. So, you know what? We all fail sometimes on stream.
true.
Yeah, like the artist that drew Mia's left boob.
Okay.
I will change the stream title though. I can't change the thumbnail, but I will do that.
Ah,
Of
it's close enough.
Turnabout
trilogy artwork.
Sisters.
The thumbnail is small enough and crunched enough. You probably can't tell what it says anyway.
Okay, now we're only half lying. Let's continue.
Well, that's all right. Lying is perfectly normal for an Ace Attorney case, isn't it?
I guess if we're on trial.
Yep. Dun dun dun. Look what they did to
Yes.
poor Charlie. Can you believe this?
Yeah, Charlie, he didn't deserve that.
No.
At least he survived from his injuries.
Thank you to
That is
Courtney for
true.
what you said earlier. We really appreciate that.
Mhm.
I'm sorry the live stream here has been really sloppy, but I promise I'll do better next time. Oops, no clues here.
No clues here. Whoa! A piece of paper. What could it be? I can't even read it. Even though it's...
If you not know how to read, that is canon now. You cannot
Yep.
change it.
Yep, this is canon.
His signal what's happening on screen. He literally cannot read.
Yep. You know,
Can't
it's a
read it.
shame that Mia did not inherit Nick's incredible ability to survive all of the random BS that's thrown at him.
I know, right?
Well, actually, those are technically later cases. So, I mean, are we allowed to... Are we allowed to talk about this case, like,
Yes.
in the past tense, or do we want to, like, go spoiler-free for
Noted.
Ace Attorney?
You're allowed to spoil Turnabout Sisters.
I just
Okay.
noticed.
I was
Mia's
thinking, like,
necklace.
much later, like, future games, but I'll avoid that then.
The string that attaches the Magatama to Mia's neck, you can see that they drew it partially on the side, but they didn't actually attach it to the Magatama.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, presumably they either redrew or upscaled, or based on the blurriness of some of these images, I would say a combination of the two.
Right.
Also, is the thinker really that big? Hang on a sec. The thinker statue is a lot bigger than like the little evidence profile would suggest. Dang. No wonder he.
That is
could,
fair
like,
to say.
No
That's fair to
wonder he
say.
could bludgeon someone with it.
Pretty sure
Jeez.
the Thinker statue is like just as tall as it is in the anime and in the thing.
I haven't
That's what
actually
they're calling
seen
the
the anime.
illustrations. The thing.
I haven't
It's basically like small statue, like not like actually big like the real because that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the real thinker statue is like roughly life size, isn't it? Wouldn't it be like?
I think
just-
it's more than life size.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Let me
mean,
just
not
bludgeon somebody
gigantic.
with a giant. With a giant. You'd need to be super.
They're just larger than life. They're just like not incredibly. Like life size to a bit bigger.
Dang, I forgot
is
that's
totally
right. This
how you
case has
draw
like
a
a thing
hand.
for big boobs for some reason.
That is totally.
I guess it
think April
does,
has broken
yeah.
her hand because her fingers are stretching way beyond the end of her hand.
Yeah. Ace Attorney, Turnabout boobs.
I mean, April May is a witness in this case.
Yes,
And
she certainly is. Where can I buy a thinker statue? Well,
Turnabout,
according to April May, you can buy it from the nearest department store.
Yeah.
Who are you? It's okay, I work here. I like how I work here is clearly like, yes, you should trust me.
Okay.
Wait, you gotta present the
Nick is
attorney's
the killer.
badge. You gotta present the attorney's badge. Don't forget.
Sure thing.
Okay, so imagine an alternate Turnabout Sisters, except Nick is the killer.
Whoa.
Absolutely stupid, I know, but
I mean, he is holding the thinker.
Okay,
Play
what
the
if-
assistant's
just
turnabout.
what if in every single Nick was the one who killed everyone? Literally
Oh, yeah,
every
pretend to
single
know.
case in Ace Attorney that exists, he is the real culprit.
And then he just secretly.
Must
And he
explain
somehow-
why in all the non-murder cases there is always a murder. Like literally all the non-murder cases have a murder. Doesn't that strike you as odd?
That would. Well, I mean, it wouldn't make sense in a lot of cases, but.
If we were on the mobile version, it would take forever.
Yeah. Oh God, please don't remind. I have to admit this. I played the first time I ever played Trials and Tribulations was on the old like
Oh
really
no.
cruddy 2014 2015 iOS port.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It was so bad that like there are certain parts where like it's supposed to be showing like, oh, who's the killer, and they're like kind of blurred, but the blur effect didn't work properly for a couple versions. So like it just showed the silhouette of the actual killer. It was
So before we
it was
continue, I'd
great.
like to give everybody a special thank you because today we have officially reached 1,000 subscribers, which is a big deal for a couple reasons. For one,
yeah.
it's a great milestone. But two, I have been talking to my fellow dev team members about opening up the development server and having a public section. So if you check the description of this video, you can find a link to the new Discord server. And it's actually the very same server that we developed the project. So please join that and enjoy the public section of that.
Yep.
Another thing is I will make sure to post about that once we get our community tab. So now that we've reached 1,000 subscribers, once YouTube updates the channel, which could take up to a week, I hear, we'll have a community tab as well, which will be great for delivering you news. And I'll no longer have to do it through the IKG Twitter or the Discord server, that one. And now everything can be Team Turnabout focused, as it should be. So that's really exciting. I really, really want that community tab. So thank you, everybody who's been supporting the channel, whether you have from the start or you're new. We really appreciate it. So we want to take this stream to celebrate that. And also, let's talk because we finished a massive video that released between the last live stream and now, and that was the episode 2 remaster. Does anyone want to talk about the episode 2 remaster?
It was very good.
Haha, there we go.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
Does. I mean, he has a point.
Yeah.
Let's
Sorry
see,
it took so long.
trying to see. Yeah, there were a lot of, the best laid plans of mice and men. But it was, I think it was worth the extended wait, because just, oh man, it looks so good.
Yeah.
It's best production value like so far.
Yeah,
Honestly,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's probably our highest quality work yet.
Considering that I spent a week on just corrections alone.
Oh yeah. You know what I have to say? I am still kind of very surprised that my original intro, the kind of recap intro for that for episode 2, that is the same one as was used in the original OG
That's not
one
true.
as well. And I'm surprised it was still like I'm surprised that
remade
still
it.
made it all the way through.
I remade that.
Well, yeah, you did, but
It
I mean
took
it's
a
still
long
basically
time.
the same. Yeah, I know, because we didn't have some of the original files.
Yeah,
So we
and
basically
Well,
had to
even
make-
then, some
did.
of the audio still bled, so it was really,
Yeah.
really annoying. I
Well, the
never
thing
want to
is-
do that ever again.
Oh well,
Thing is,
I
we
had
found the
I had to
original-
do that for the
Nico,
original one as
Nico,
well until
no.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah
Right.
I had to do that for the original one as well because well at first I did because I didn't originally have any of the original audio files when I was first making it, I remember, and then I was like, guys, this sucks. Can somebody like send me the original files? And they were like, oh yeah, sure, and then they did. Sadly, I think I have since lost them back in my because that was just before I had my hard drive fail on me. So, unfortunately, I think those files may be lost to the ether. But either
Find
way,
it right after we released the video.
No,
Huh?
just no, Nico.
it was
Nope.
no, this was way back when. This was years and years ago. This is back when I made the original episode 2. Well, now that I say that, I guess the original episode 2 is still referring to new Shield of Justice as opposed to really, really old Team Turnabout, like 2014, 2013
Yeah.
Team Turnabout, which that's crazy.
You mean
Now
Turnabout Classic?
Yeah, Turnabout Classic, that's right.
More
But
like
now there's
Turnabout
technically...
Bad, am I right?
Hey, listen, it was good for the time. We have very different standards now. We have much.
I'm afraid
much
it wasn't
higher
very good
quality
for the time,
standards.
but it was definitely more excusable.
I think it was. I think it was very good for the time. I was
Okay.
proud of it, and that's all that matters.
The videos at the time, besides being strong, just like it was good for its time.
Oh yeah.
Looking at videos back then.
Yeah, but I mean, that was also just a different time. So now, that was before we had. 2013 was right when Dual Destinies was coming out. So we didn't. Not only did we, not even have 3D models to begin with, we didn't have any of the HD remasters. We had, I guess we did sort of have the iOS ports, but they were so awful that there was basically no point. The
court
characters
record
were
rips.
missing animations. It was terrible.
Especially the court record rips of those characters.
Yeah. Oh God, the court record rip. Well, court record back then was just a despicable state.
Yeah.
I remember having so much trouble editing classic episode 3 because we were using all the minis, and 50% of the minis on court records from AAI had no proper timings for the GIFs, so they would animate at maximum speed. So we had to manually re-edit each and every one of those GIFs to fix the timings. So it was terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I think rocky development incidents have occurred, I mean, really since the start with Turnabout Classic, but we've certainly gotten better with that over time, but I think it goes to show a lot of effort went into Turnabout Classic at the time. I mean, it really shows.
And no, Waifu 2X did not exist at the time, Mohammed.
Waifu 2X looks like its website from the early 2000s, man.
It kind of does.
It kind of does, but it's just meant to be a simple little low frills site because there's so many people use it. You kind of want to cut down on the frills so that way, there's as little bandwidth takes up as possible. And yeah, Court Records was once a hive of scum and villainy.
Muhammad.
That is a very, very good way to put it. But you know what? It was also the site that taught that actually Court Records was the site. The Court Records forums were where I learned how to rip the 3D assets from the game, and that certainly led to what we've got here. So,
looking back at those old tutorials on court records, that's before people, at least the tutorial that I saw, they didn't know how to self-illuminate the textures yet.
Yeah, that was that was Dirty Pants Dan's tutorial. He actually messaged me on Twitter at one point because after I published my big SOJ ripping tutorial, and he was like, "Oh, hey, you got it working with Spirit of Justice," and he was like, "That's super awesome," and I said, "Yeah, thank you." So that was pretty cool. The guy that made that first ever AA model ripping tutorial, he was like, "Oh, hey, that's pretty awesome." Also, I'm surprised that the police, back to the case at hand here, I'm surprised the police let us alter the crime scene and put everything back in order this quickly, only a day after the murder occurs.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, we don't need to preserve the crime scene anymore. We took enough photos.
Right. And you were Detective Gumshoe, Detective Suede Shoes, Detective Gumtree. I'm gonna say Gumtree.
Detective Suede Shoes.
Or Suede Shoes, yes.
Yeah.
I think Gumtree, you get an achievement if you do Gumtree.
Really?
I believe I already got the achievement, but I'll do Gumtree.
Yeah.
There's one thing I noticed about this version of the 30. You notice how Maya's eyes are drawn above her bangs?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Like, seriously, they're drawn above her bangs. It's like...
Oop, you cut out, I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is a very anime thing to do, which
mean,
I'm actually. Oh, sorry.
I mean, aren't the eyes normally like? I thought the anime thing to do is like make the eyes see through the bangs instead of actually make them go above the bangs. Like Danganronpa kind of does that.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that is a good point. Some animes just make like the outline of the eye visible through the bangs, just to show like it's like kind of phasing through, so you can like. I think that's the effect that they're going for, is like that you can sort of see their eye sort of through their
It's
bangs.
straight up opaque.
Yeah, but
like-
this is just like they're just on top of her hair.
Yeah, I mean, how can that be what they're going through? Actually, it would be better if they just straight up like put them under her bangs. Like, I get the eyebrows, but not the fucking eyes.
It's
Thing is,
So,
it's the art style.
It's interesting to
because
go
they do
back
that
and think
for-
about Miles Edgeworth's introduction, because it's hard to think back to the first time we were playing these games, and we didn't even know what he looked like, but Gumshoe just explained him along with some of the rumors surrounding him. So it's really interesting to go back to a simpler time.
Yep. Oh, do you realize what we just got? The autopsy report.
The autopsy report, correct?
The autopsy. Well, actually, no, it's not the autopsy
Er,
report. The autopsy report comes a little later.
You're correct. Yes.
It is in fact the autopsy report.
Yep. Salary cutting noises.
Da, 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 do, 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 do.
That's still one of my favorite videos. I do not tell you salary cutting noises.
That was really good.
But back onto the eye thing, I think it's just the Ace Attorney style, because they even do that for Spirit of Justice.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
it's clearly like that's just that's just the stylistic art direction choice they're going with. But it is
No, I
interesting
don't think they
because
did
it's-
that for Spirit of Justice, like being above the bangs instead. I don't think they did that for SOJ. Correct
did.
me if I'm
They
wrong.
did.
They did.
They did.
They did actually. We actually
Yeah.
did have to specifically, we did specifically wonder how they did that. Even I think they likely used some kind of a mask shader. That's a bit of a technical dive, but they do. They actually they do it for more than one character in Spirit of Justice, in fact. But the thing that I wonder about is they don't do it for all the characters that have bangs covering their eyes, just some of them. And that's what I find curious, is that not all the characters do that. Like, see, April May here, like, her eyebrows and stuff are behind her hair.
Correct.
Just realized both Nayuta and Maya, their hair is transparent. So does that mean foreigners have transparency in their hair?
No, it's not canon. Obviously, it's not a
Yeah,
canon
I
detail.
don't think that's ever like brought up in universe. The fact that their
It's
eyes
just
are
it's an
visible
art
through
style
their...
decision.
That's kind
I
of
know.
a thing you'd hear on the WMD page on TV tropes. Like, why can only foreigners have opaque
Phoenix,
eyes?
open
or
the drawer.
What the fuck?
Open the drawer. Aw, too late.
Open the drawer. He knows about sunflowers and tulips. He only knows about 3 flowers.
Every time I replay this case, I'm like, I know what's in there
Whoa.
before Phoenix does, so I'm just like, please open the drawer.
Yep. I love how her mouth twitches. Like when she's like in that freak out, she like her mouth, the corner of her mouth like twitches slightly.
It does. Yeah, it's a really good detail all the way back to the DS original.
I
Now
actually
you can
don't
see
think
it
you
better.
could really notice it much on the DS original. It's only when they like, for the most part, I really like. I think they did a good job remastering the sprites, but I think it's a matter of there's just some of those details you really never notice until they're kind of blown up right in your face.
That's
like
fair.
Edward's eyes in his exasperated animation.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point.
That is a really good observation.
I like a man with a big vocabulary. I forget the writing in the first game. That's right. I remember reading about that the writers for the first game were like they had a completely different writing team for just the first game in the trilogy, and then all the later games had a very different group of writers. So
You can
it's
tell.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. And but it changed as well, since when they went back to make Rise from the Ashes, they also had the new group of writers. So
Exactly.
even there. But I think that's really cool because they tried. It's almost kind of a hybrid between the two different games' writing styles, because you can tell it's still a little different from how the later games structured their cases. So I think that's very interesting that they even acknowledged the fact that they had a different writing team and tried to sort of emulate their style.
Right.
Also, could be that Rise from the Ashes was both Takumi and Yamazaki.
Come on, Mr.
It could
Grossberg.
be.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
If that wasn't the most over-the-top clearing of the throat I've ever heard.
That's in retrospect.
Yep.
I hope we can fit Grossberg into an asinine attorney somewhere.
Oh boy. Let go of my lapels. Just as long as you don't have him talking about his hemorrhoids. Good God.
Yeah.
That was the one part. I think that was one of the reasons I didn't initially play Trials and Tribulations, just because I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's kind of
That
weird.
first case made me very uneasy. I was like, what is this?
It kind of came out of nowhere with Grossberg just talking about his health problems.
Yeah. But I mean,
courtroom.
yeah. But also, that's a good point, but I think that is kind of like a stereotypical old man trope is, my back, my head, my aching bones, my...
Exactly.
Like, that is
my
kind of a very
hemorrhoid.
stereotypical. Yeah, my... of all the things. And
Like, of all the things I don't want to think about, that is, like, that's, like, 5. on
yeah,
the
top of the list right there. It's just, I really don't need to hear about that.
But there
So-
was. Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
One thing that I wish they did that they did in AJHD was actually remaster the attorney's badge on sprites.
Oh,
It's just a flat image, but in
Yeah.
AJHD they gave it all the details.
Oh, interesting.
Same for AAIHD.
Gotta go all out.
Interesting. Yeah, like
As
you
in-
can see here on Mr. Grossberg, like his defense attorney's pin is just like a golden like dot.
Exactly.
So
Tell me about the painting.
dang, that painting actually is like it is actually like a really nice painting. Like now that you can actually see it in high quality, that is an impressive like watercolor, or it's either watercolor or pastel, I'd say.
Yeah, one of the two.
It's like, or maybe both.
Yeah. Well.
Or maybe like the Hudson River School's oil painting kind. You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about? Yeah, it's something like that.
That could
Reminds
be.
me of that.
That's a good point. It could be an oil painting.
Oh,
But
it says
like,
oil painting in the text. There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yo.
Let's move to...
I never got what the
attention.
painting was actually of. But now I can, like, clearly see it's a field worker of some kind.
Yeah.
First I thought it was just some, like,
the,
First I thought it was just some, like, weird Indiana Jones kind of guy.
That's what I thought too. Yo, I thought the same thing. Whenever I first saw that painting, I was like, is that Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones-esque.
Yeah, well, because it wouldn't be
Just
the
a
first time
farmer,
they
though.
put, like, a picture of, like, a real, like, film poster or something in there. Because, in their office, in Mia in the Ace Ventura in the Wright and Co law offices, that poster on the back wall is actually like a real film poster, but it's just crunched down so much that you can't tell really what it is. I think somebody somewhere actually found out what the actual film it was, but I forget what it is. Oh hey, Prosecutor Walton, welcome to the stream.
Yeah.
Welcome, Walton.
Hey, Aspen Karch.
Oh, hello, everybody.
I think that's. I hope I didn't butcher your username. I apologize.
No, it's interesting to finally see the guard in the back have pupils.
Yeah. Oh, I actually find the guard really creepy now that he's in high detail, just because he doesn't like move. Hey, I didn't.
That's
screw it
true.
up. Awesome.
He is rather stoic. So.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he has too much detail.
Yeah, almost. He's like it's because
He's
well,
like so stoic that he didn't even listen to when 2-4 spoiler happened.
I get what you mean.
I see.
Yeah, it's like so weird. He was in earshot and he didn't even think to report it. Like, that's a thing.
Walton,
Now.
Walton, you know me
Seen
too well.
Maya, he's seen Maya channel me like 3 times.
Just to address the chat, yeah, Walton, you know me too well. And also, Saki's here. Hello, thank you for watching.
Hey.
Our very own
how's it
Emma
going?
Sky.
Hey.
Sweet.
4 p.m. Time's
Sky.
up.
Ace Investigator.
That's right. Go home, defend Maya. Defend Maya.
Just leave
You're
her
like
and go home. We're gonna...
It's so blunt. I think that's another thing about the writers behind the first game. Their choices are just very blunt, whereas Justice for All and Onward, they're more sophisticatedly... they're more sophisticated, like in terms of their tone. You know, I think that's just a really jarring thing to go back to the first game and see this. Like, Phoenix would never say, I can't abandon you. He would say, I'll never give up. You know, like, it's a small difference, but you can see they were just getting started, so.
It's kind of amazing how good Justice for All is if you consider that it was written in 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Justice for All is still one of my like. I like Justice for All better than the first game, actually.
Me too. Yeah. Although Rise from the Ashes does do well to compete with that, I still would take JFA on top just a little bit.
My problem with Rise from the Ashes is it's too long. It goes like it's a really good and long and detailed case, but there are parts where it just feels like it starts to drag, even in the trial section, which is generally not an issue I would say most cases have. I think Turnabout Big Top had a similar issue.
Yeah,
just that
it does have
there
that.
are, yeah. Oh,
would
Prosecutor Walton
would he
gives a good
really
point.
call?
James, you were saying?
Prosecutor Walton, makes a good point. He says that the I won't give up versus I won't abandon you. He says to him, rather than a change in writing, that's more of a change in relationship or a change in character.
Ooh.
Between which like may not even be a change in writing. It could just be that now he knows Maya better.
It may not even be intentional, but I think that actually
I was kind of thinking that too.
you could argue that would strengthen the arc.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
I was
a
kind
great
of
point,
thinking-
actually.
I was kind of thinking from the angle of, since Mia's already dead, he like maybe he puts that on himself or something like that. It kind of ties back
Yeah.
into that.
Oh, that's a good point as well.
And here's
Oh,
the
yeah,
bell boy.
Farewell, my turnabout. Oh man, that case right there is one of the
Good
reasons
case.
why I put Justice for All above. Is just because like the final cases of the first game were super good, but just oh man, Farewell, my turnabout is that it's like I know a lot of people absolutely love the final case of Trials and Tribulations. Like, and so do I, but just, oh, man. Because Justice for All was actually the first AA game I ever played.
Oh,
myself.
neat. That's neat.
So I actually played Justice for All before any of the other games in the series. So I think I am definitely biased in the sense that it was, it was the first game I played, and it was the first game that kind of hooked me on Ace Attorney. But oh man, like anytime I hear Hotline of Destiny, just oh man, that song is like it's such a perfect capture of the emotion in that case. Just whoa, everything's going crazy.
Orchestrated the first orchestra, then did make a version of that and Justice for All melody, like just for a couple seconds, but still.
Yeah, they weaved it into the melody. Yep.
Ooh, nice.
Welcome to court.
Since we were talking about Phoenix's line scenes, I remember this when someone brought up some of Phoenix's lines in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and how when one of his lines, the defense is ready, I guess, is out of character for Phoenix and stuff. Like, yeah. I mean, and I was all like, is it really? Because Phoenix, how do I put this? I mean, their reasoning was more like how Phoenix's pure conviction is that that his clients are innocent always, but then like 2-4 kind of just puts the span in that theory, because it's him learning that that's not what a lawyer's job is about. It's like about finding the truth instead. So I guess from my perspective is Phoenix being a bit cautious and stuff, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Besides, like, when every trial starts, he's like not the most sure person a lot of the time.
Yep, especially
He only
first
starts
game.
getting he only starts getting like real comfortable when like the third trial day happens, and he's like, unless he's been accused.
All right, we're getting close. Salary cutting noises.
Of course. Yes.
Actually, when did that? I actually don't know if it was this game or the next game where they started making the running joke of cutting Gumshoe's salary. I forget.
The first instance of that is happening. Is going to happen soon.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this game started it, but I think it actually became a running gag when the series went on and stuff.
Yeah.
And another
Smack.
thing, the
Hey,
oh,
Maya
sorry,
just
go ahead.
threw something at me.
Whoa.
What's this?
Which?
When my sister couldn't find any contradictions in a witness's testimony, she would bluff it and press the witness on every detail. The witness always slips up and says something wrong. It worked lots of times. Heh, I should have expected Maya would know some of her sister's tricks. Alright, let's give this a try. I love that part because it's sort of like a reminder, like, hey, you idiot! Like, don't forget like how important pressing is just because you were doing some investigation work.
Yeah.
You
Or
know.
better yet, just like, hey, I know I'm the... I love how no one questions, like, why the accused victim just threw something to her attorney. Like,
Yeah, the judge's like,
nobody
oh.
just nobody questions it, nobody calls it out. It's just
Maya
like, nope.
is just so
just-
stealthy that she
This is
threw
totally
it. and
fine.
nobody
Oh,
saw.
and I feel like I should point this out. I don't know, because this is a kind of a fun fact that I don't know if everybody knows. Maybe people, in the development team here do, but in the original Game Boy Advance Japanese releases of the first 3 Ace Attorney games, when you would present a piece of evidence, since they didn't have the bottom screen, they didn't do the sort of effect where the evidence, slides up onto the top screen from the bottom. Instead, the evidence little portrait just spun and spiraled into the center of the screen. And they reused that effect in Justice for All for one point where you need to literally throw a piece of evidence across the courtroom in one scene. And they actually used that in the DS version, specifically still for that instance. So it is my understanding that basically what that implies is that you literally, when you go take that or something, you are literally chucking either a picture of the piece of evidence or the actual evidence at whoever you're presenting it towards. And I just love that headcanon. Just the take that, just pew. It
That's
just
also sort of
spins, you just
sort of
throw it.
similar to what the movie canon is as well.
Yeah. Oh, which by the way, I heard that the movie
movie or
canon is now
anime?
on like Netflix or something.
It's on
On
Netflix now?
Amazon Prime. No, it's on Amazon
or
Prime
Yeah,
Amazon
Video.
because in
Prime,
the
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
But it's
because in the movie they all use holograms and
Whoa,
stuff.
whoa, whoa, whoa!
But-
One at a time. One at a time.
Sorry.
But in the anime, just Phoenix is straight up points. Fucking Airbender Phoenix.
Nice.
Straight
Okay.
up
But yeah,
assaulting someone by finger
Okay,
pointing.
so it's actually on Amazon Prime. Got it.
yeah, but as I was saying, also it's the first time that it has actually gotten an official release in the U.S. region.
Yeah. The only
Excellent.
thing though is that because a lot of the humor that we've come to, or a friend of mine watched it, and what they told me, and I kind of expected this, is a lot of the humor that we get, as English speaking at least, a lot of the humor comes in how it was localized. Because
Absolutely.
almost none
Yep.
of the gags have been really carried over much from the original Japanese, except where they were like they really weren't cultural in any way, shape, or form. Like I forget if the latter gag was actually in the Japanese. I think it might have been, but
It was
okay.
because when they first revealed the new trilogy port, like the guy playing the demo was struggling to resist the press on the ladder.
Oh, nice. But the thing about the movie is that the translation is direct because they didn't go to all they didn't have this big localization team. They didn't have the same localizers all kind of turning it into Japanifornia and eat your hamburgers Apollo and all that stuff. While the movie is good, the humor is not the same.
Yeah.
And a lot of the funny jokes that Japanese audiences would probably clue into just aren't. They don't come naturally, which is really fascinating.
Like when Pearl broke Ami's urn in the Japanese version, she screwed up the order of the words because she couldn't read kanji.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so when you're watching the movie, it's good, but the jokes are not going to resonate with an American audience the same way that they would to the Japanese audience because it's not localized. So.
Sadly, when they remade the background for 16:9, they forgot to add the scales to the flags.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Oh,
if
you're
you look,
right.
you
Yeah.
have to put the scales on.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I thought the scales were only on the flags in Apollo Justice and Onward, like with the kind of redrawn courtroom.
No, I did check on Apollo Justice HD, and they are drawn onto the original trilogy flags.
Huh.
They're even on the GBA backgrounds.
Oh yeah, and Prosecutor Walton says typical that the vase would break in a specific way that would allow you to mess up the spelling. But I mean, although in fairness, you can see like those pieces were not rearranged correctly. Like the vase is very much only just sort of vase shaped because of how badly the pieces are put
Here
together.
it is. Here's the joke. First one.
Oh yeah, here we go.
There you are.
When exactly did you get that? Oh yes, I look forward to your next evaluation. As should you. That was a mess.
Yeah, I felt like these earlier cases in the series paced their investigations really well.
I feel like they're a little light on content, but that's only coming from
Yeah.
more recent titles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they hold up well, though.
Also, I don't think a third case needs to be longer than Rise from the Ashes, but they did that anyways. It's rare justice.
Oh Oh, that's right. I forgot the trilogy port brought over the HP bar. That's right.
Correct. Yep.
Now, is it broken into segments for all the games or just the first one?
It's broken into segments for all the games, but they will still sometimes penalize you with, say, 2 or 3 chunks or all of them. So that's still, the difficulty's still intact.
But in the original first game, I don't believe they ever did, like, they didn't implement any of those multi-damage things. But that's actually what I find it interesting, is that in Spirit of Justice, they actually went back to the point system, but they had it function a little bit more like the HP bar, which I find it very interesting that they decided to switch back to that.
They switched back to the bar for the trilogy re-release.
Yeah, but they switched back to the bar. Well, I think it's because, well, no, actually.
The mobile version had the strike, like the exclamation points for the first game, and then the rest were health bar.
Yeah.
So this
that's
is a
right.
change exclusive to the new release.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the new release is just kind of just better in every way anyhow, so that's certainly a welcome change.
Definitely.
Oh boy, here we go, guys. She died immediately.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, but it's out of date.
Outdated, Your Honor. I just find that fascinating that he's just like, yeah, we've got the autopsy report, but I'm gonna request a second one. He just has that little faith in the police that he's like, I'm gonna ask for a second autopsy report. I'm like, yeah, I know you already did this, but do it again. Detective's a sham. I'm a sham. I love that. Edgeworth is a sham. The detective's a sham. I'm a sham.
I forgot that they didn't actually give the smirk animation any lip laps.
That's right. Does Phoenix in the first game, when he's like pointing, does he wiggle his finger like Edgeworth does? Because I remember seeing in the original GBA versions, Phoenix also, like when he's pointing, he does a finger wag.
That was an error that the DS version first made by, instead of using his GBA sprite from the sheet from the first game, they accidentally used its GBA TNT sheet by accident. But they still haven't fixed that mistake, so the wiggle is still not in the game.
Yeah.
Like, not even in the file.
Interesting. There's also something interesting. They cut out a bit of dialogue from the Japanese version in the very start of the first trial when Mia is talking to Phoenix. She actually has an extended conversation with him that they included in the really cruddy iOS port, but removed from all other versions of the game. It wasn't in the DS version, it was only in the original Japanese and in the bad iOS port. I remember seeing a blog post or something about it, about discussing why they cut that from the game, but I can't find the post anymore.
The funny thing is, they made a terrible translation error by, instead of saying elementary school, they said high school.
Wait, where?
When Phoenix is saying, he says, last time I wasn't involved in like something involving a trial, I was in high school.
Wait,
but
what?
they meant to say elementary school.
Well, at least it didn't happen in case 4, where it really would have mattered.
Oh,
Also, there's a line exclusive to the original iOS port and the Java to Me port, where they actually included the 3 months. I got my badge 3 months before line
oh,
from the.
interesting.
That's it's still in the Japanese version, but for whatever reason they've completely cut it out of the English versions. So technically, Phoenix got his badge May of 2016. No wait, no. Wait.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I think,
Um,
if I recall, basically the timeline of events, like the so-called official timeline, like we are still in the era of the original trilogy. I believe Trials and Tribulations is going on right now because the original Ace Attorney started in 2018, I think.
Actually, we are months away from the UR1 incident.
I was
Yeah.
literally just
Really?
about to say that.
Yeah, we're about
Technically, we are still in the trilogy era, but we're moving on to AAI, kinda. Or did you already pass that?
I think we just
We already
passed
passed,
versus
um,
Layton, right? We just passed versus Layton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we
the-
said
versus was between cases
3
Oh,
and
wow.
3 and 5.
um
3 and 5.
yeah, but we
Oh,
have
I
already passed.
see.
Phoenix has already been disbarred for over a year.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's
He
crazy.
just adopted-
Yeah, UR1 happens in 3 months.
Dang.
Yep.
Also, oh
Yeah,
my,
try
I
this
was just
version
trying to
one.
Google the UR1 incident. Google had me do a CAPTCHA just to verify or the website had me do a CAPTCHA to verify I'm not a spam bot. It said select all the parking meters. One of them, I didn't select one image, and it said, hey, you need to select all the images. So I selected the image I didn't because it was not a parking meter, it was a mailbox.
And now you got to redo the whole thing.
The CAPTCHA thought that the mailbox was a parking meter. Good job, Google. Even the robots can't. Even the humans can't.
Well,
figure
now
it
we need to
out.
put them on trial.
That's the whole twist. Is you
So,
are
like-
a robot.
So like Phoenix got this spot for over a year, right? UR1 is happening soonest. So I gotta ask you, wouldn't that been made kind of better if both events happen during the same year? Like instead of
Well,
like the gap between UR1 and the disbarment.
not necessarily, no.
You know, it's law.
Oh, God,
Because-
Dark Age of the-
Because Apollo.
Hey guys, I'm Dual
Justice-
Destinies. By the way, Dark Age of the Law.
Yeah,
By
yeah.
the way, oh,
But
hey,
Age
here,
of the law.
Phoenix gets
did you say
disbarred
Dark
7.
Age of the Law?
But yeah, Phoenix gets disbarred 7 years before the events of Apollo Justice, but UR1
I mean-
happens 7 years before the events of Dual Destinies.
Correct.
I think my main problem is that his disbarment is close to Brid's, like 3 months worth, I think. Remind me in case I'm wrong. Like,
Yeah, it basically goes the events go like this. 2019 happens like
Whoops.
this. Bridge happens.
Think too far ahead.
A month passes. Then Investigations 1 happens. A couple weeks pass. Investigations 2. Another 2 weeks later, Phoenix gets disbarred. Another 2 weeks later, Tracy gets adopted.
Correct. Yeah, a
So,
lot
like-
happens in that
so
era.
like, 3-week gap. There is roughly a 1 month to 3 week. There's like a 1 month and 3 week gap between Bridge and the disbarment.
And
Bridge happens in February, and
Well-
Phoenix gets disbarred in April.
right. So what's your point though?
Wait, say that again?
Basically, Dark was saying it was 2 months, but I think it was, between
I'm a-
February and April.
My problem is that from what I remember, they were close together. Like, say again. which month each
Yes,
happened?
3 months. But what's the issue? I'm just trying to understand what you're saying.
Dude, did you see how Phoenix acted in the flashback trial? Compare that to how he acted in
Yeah. Yeah,
Bridge. That's
after
like
winning Bridge of the Turnabout, he
3
got
months.
after winning Bridge of the Turnabout and closing the case on everything relating to the Faye family, he got more confident. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, there's a
And
reason
you know what
why.
they say, pride goeth before a fall.
And he
There's a
fell.
reason.
And he
There's a
fell.
reason
He
why
sure
certain
did.
animations are still stored in the AJHD files, but they're not in HD because they never need to be used.
Because
And
why
that's
would he
his.
sweat? Right? Like,
Yeah, not. Yeah.
yeah.
Also, his emo
It feels like
animation.
a more significant gap in 3 should happen.
Yeah, it's like the most packed 3 months in the whole series.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's huge.
I mean, Phoenix wasn't really there for investigations, and well, investigations did happen. Like I always thought, investigations happened after the disbarment.
Walton makes a funny reference. Good. Twice the pride, double the fall. Count Dooku. Well, sorry, Mr. Wright. She's not guilty of murder, but she's definitely guilty of something. That being an accomplice. But we're not quite there yet, of course. Very interesting to think about C. Edgeworth. Like, after all of these games, just going back to the first game, everything's so simple, you know?
I do find it interesting that they basically had to redraw all the art because the one I was wrong about the one in the using the mobile and 3DS being traced sprites.
Right.
That's actually the original art.
Oh, hey, Ben. Shout out to Rodon for creating... Wait, what?
Wait, what?
I don't know.
What? Oh.
I don't believe that person made the thinker.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's not talking about Ace Attorney. Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense. Now I get it. I was like trying to think like, I don't remember that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Of
I was
course.
like, I don't remember that from the first Turnabout.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Like I thought it was Larry who made those.
Right. In canon, yes. You know,
Yeah.
the actual weapon that's in the case, yes. She could have easily heard the clock.
Yeah.
Yes, we know, Ben. Yep, we figured that out.
The thing I also don't get is that now that they have removed the wiggle, why don't they use the extra frames in the super objection to make the objection look smooth?
Well,
I
but
don't
the
know.
super objection wasn't used. Well, I mean, the super objection isn't used until
Yeah.
game 3, till Trials and
Right,
Tribulations.
but they don't have to actually use the movements. They could have just had them centered and just use like the extra 2 frames to make the animation look smooth.
I think it might just have been an artistic choice. I think they wanted, because the other thing to remember is these games did not have a big budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Like especially the first game had a tiny budget. Then Justice for All was written in 3 months, and then I think Trials and Tribulations had a little bit more time and a little.
It had
bit
2
more
years of
budget, but
development. It had 2 years.
yeah, but even so, for a full game, like that's not a ton of time.
Yeah,
That's
especially all the
everything
time they
from
had
the
to
start
spend.
of planning.
Especially
Yeah,
all the
that's-
time they had to take to compress their files as well, which was a big challenge for that game's development.
Yeah, to cut
Yeah.
stuff out.
That's
right
a lot
at the
of
last
wasted
minute, like-
time.
yeah, like Old Bag in her tropical outfit. Because she was supposed to like appear in a cameo because she like came back from vacation and she was wearing like a tropical like Hawaiian outfit, but they had to cut that out
Yeah.
because it wouldn't fit. Just like literally that one sprite and stuff wouldn't fit.
Also, Meow's like 1 billion unused animations.
Yeah. Oh, I think our stream may be. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Our stream
There we
lagged
go.
for a bit.
Okay.
We're good. We're back.
Yeah.
All right.
We're back.
I was no, should
But it's kind of
prove
interesting that they kept the steps that they used to save space in the trilogy. Like the cheats for Trials and Tribulations are different because they wanted, for whatever reason, they decided to keep the space-saving methods for just Trials
Well,
and Tribulations.
The other thing to remember
There's
is that
Edgeworth's
I
eyes.
believe, yeah, some of the assets were actually reused for the 3DS ports as well, which
Yeah.
would still potentially benefit
Yeah.
from that space saving.
Yeah. But they completely redrew all the art for this port. Well, at least for the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And some backgrounds like the courtroom.
I find it very interesting that they decided, yeah, this courtroom is going to be kind of bronze gold. Like it's a very interesting decision for the color of, because especially since later it's like, oh, it's very just, oh, it's made of wood, so it's like, well, then what is this courtroom made
Yeah,
out
what
of?
is
like
this?
why did they go from marble, like you can see in the witness, they have got marble and like kind of gold, and we just switched to just wood.
Right.
It's like we had a
Like,
really
did they run out-
nice golden finish on everything.
The Dark Age of the Law caused the law to go bankrupt and they needed to sell all their gold and replace it with wood?
Well,
Oops.
I don't know, because it was there in Apollo Justice as well. Well,
The
I guess
flashback
technically
case.
Apollo Justice sort of takes place in the Dark Age, but
Yeah.
That's true.
It does.
they don't talk about it being the Dark Age in Apollo Justice, only in Dual Destinies.
Exactly.
That
It
was-
is the Dark Age, but they don't label it as such.
No one realizes it's the Dark Age. It's snuck up on them.
Except for Mr. Right.
Except for Mr. Right, who can't stop talking about it.
And then Apollo learns as well.
Yes.
And then Dual Destiny comes and everybody talks about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then everyone is like, what the hell is this? Why
That
do we
is
keep
quite the
talking about
breakdown.
it? Yep.
So, someone pointed this out to me and I can't unsee it. Every time April gets angry, her heart goes upside down.
Yeah. Well, it actually is like spinning when she's like
Yeah.
got her arms crossed in front of her
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
They've made some like painstaking details with some of these characters.
Yeah.
Oh, like that little flash where she's like when she snorts, when she's
Yeah.
like trying to laugh and like keep her cool.
Yeah.
For just like a few frames, she cuts back to her like.
That's how
angry
you do
face.
a lot with a little animation.
Yeah. Oh, there's an entire like game design doctor the video talking about specifically
Yeah.
how they did all this really detailed stuff.
It's a great video.
Oh yeah, fantastic video.
Now we get to reveal the wiretap. I think we're nearing the end of this trial.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, the first day of the trial.
Or
Hey,
correct. Yep. Hi, Jay.
And also Luna, yes, that is a rule. We should not talk about the Dark Age of the Law.
Yep,
But you
rule
just
number
said
one
it.
of- Oh no.
I was stating the rule.
But the Sith Age of the Law. That's what I do.
The light age of the law.
The light age.
There is no light. The joke is that there is no light age in Ace Attorney.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Wah.
The dim age of the
Why
law.
are they acting like this is why are they acting like it's a new thing in Dual Destinies?
Because reasons.
Because no one knew. No one realized. Can you prove that? I
It's
think
that-
not. Oh
like,
yeah,
it's
I
supposed-
think I can. What?
Like, it's supposed to be the Dark Age in Dual Destinies, but nobody acts like it's the Dark Age. They all just say it's the Dark Age. Like, the closest we got is Case 1 with the court bombing and all that.
But anyways, I like how the cell phone is used here as evidence in Turnabout Sisters in pretty interesting ways.
cell phone.
Even if we're just presenting the same piece of evidence multiple times.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they're presenting it like you would present a cell phone in court.
Oh,
Zach
Professor
makes a good
Memes.
point. Zach makes a good point. I mean that they
Oh,
would play
yeah.
they would play the audio. That's true.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, don't forget that Phoenix
Might
also
be the
did
most
that in
realistic
Trump.
thing to happen in a Phoenix Wright court.
No, not even close. The most realistic thing is cross-examining the parrot.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I
that
thought-
actually is pretty
I thought you were about to
realistic.
say cross-examining. I was like, yeah, you're right. And then
Wait, they actually have lawyers have actually cross-examined animals in real life.
yeah, cry, April, May, blah blah blah. Now to deal the final blow.
And then Jay talks about Professor Memes. Yes, the ends justify the memes. They justify the memes.
The only thing justifying memes is memes.
I mean, like,
But let's not bash that game anymore. So
I mean,
We're
not
nearing the
really
end of
we're
this-
backing Spirit of Justice and Nayuda.
we're not we're not nearing the end of the case, but it is interesting to see again, just see the writing of the first game. It's very different. It's I don't know, it's interesting to look back on.
It's nice that see, that's one of the other things. The trials were a lot like shorter. It was very clearly like just a much smaller in scope sort of game. Like,
Absolutely.
the trials last maybe an hour at most, or at least each day lasts maybe an hour at most or so. Like at the longest. Like this trial thus far, I think has lasted maybe half an hour. So it was a
An
lot
hour
more
into the stream.
bite-sized.
Yeah, we're about an hour into the stream, and we've already gone through the investigation and the court section.
Yeah, exactly.
crazy.
It's a very bite-sized kind of game. I gotta. That is kind of awesome.
There is an appeal to that. That's true.
Yeah, it's very easy to of all the places to start, it's a lot easier to digest. Like it's very easy to just pick up and play. And I
Yeah.
think it's really great that they're re-releasing the trilogy on all these systems, because then if you want to get into the series, you could certainly like start with the later games, but it's highly unadvised, especially just because the scope of the games is bigger. You're missing out on lore and all sorts of other stuff, and plus just how easy to just grab and go these games are, even if they're not necessarily on portable systems anymore.
Right.
They are perfect for that style of play.
Yeah.
Switch version.
And I really
want to go.
Of course. And I really hope that they'll follow suit, because I still stand by everything I said in my review of the 2019 collection, this trilogy collection I'm playing. It really is a fantastic way of playing the trilogy, and they absolutely nailed the details, and it's definitely definitive. I know everyone's a little sore from Ace Attorney ports, but I really hope that we can get the rest of the series, at least the rest of the DS games, at the minimum, with the same sort of love and care that they put into this collection.
At this point, we should expect anything but trilogy ports.
Well, no, the trilogy is done for quite some
Like
time.
literally,
Yeah, I
Capcom
know.
listed the reasons why
this
they
port-
expected low sales for this port of the trilogy. They said saturation of the trilogy ports.
They're aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know it.
Yeah, they're aware. And you know what I really hope? Because we also got the soundtracks for this. I mean, it took them a while. It
Yes,
took
in
them over
really
a
high
year after
quality
it.
too.
Apparently
They
those are the
best
Wii
quality we've ever heard the
soundtracks.
soundtracks in, and it's
Apparently they're the
amazing,
Wii
and
version.
I really,
I don't believe that.
I hope they do it for Apollo Justice as well, because
Yeah.
I mean, they did release an official, because that only had the DS sound, but the soundtrack I think was still sort of based on game audio, I think. So I wonder if we do get a
CD
similar
did
port in that
remaster some
style,
songs.
if it'll
The
be
CD
like that.
did improve sound quality on some of the songs.
Yeah.
Well, it would have on all of them.
Yeah, but they removed the reverb, the cheap reverb from Level of Guilt or Guilty Love, which was a good thing.
Oh, good. So
Yeah.
it's a
but
lot
they
clearer.
chose to add that back on AHA Mobile, but they did remove it again in AJ 3DS.
Oh, that's weird.
Apparently, the mobile versions use more compressed versions of DS audio.
I know that the old really cruddy iOS port of the trilogy did that for sure. I actually literally went in and like made audio edits. Like I jailbroke my iPad just so I could make audio edits for that app so that I could listen to the music in better quality.
Smart.
Like it
They
was
did that
worse
for
than
Apollo
the DS.
Just. They did
They
that for
actually used
Apollo
the
Just.
GBA audio in a few places for a
Yeah.
few tracks. It was awful.
Also, apparently, with Pearly is in the files, but because of an issue in the game, it will never play.
With Pearly does play. I can confirm that it does play.
It does?
But it's the GBA version.
Ah.
It's the
Oh,
GBA
that's right.
version
So
of With Pearly.
they for some of the tracks they used the GBA version by mistake.
That's right.
That's definitely
Yeah.
not the only one they did.
Yeah, it's
Also,
definitely not, but
Don't
it's
forget that
still
they decided
garbage.
to only use the first game's save jingle.
Don't quote me on this, but I think Berry Big Circus is also GBA, but I'm not entirely sure.
I forget about that one, but I
don't know.
I'm trying to
I
remember.
definitely
One other
I
one
do
that's
feel
really
like
obvious.
that the Logic theme from Justice for All, I'm also pretty sure was they accidentally used the GBA version for that too. Again, I could be wrong. I haven't played the mobile ports in almost a decade now, so.
Yeah, well, I'm never going back to those mobile ports.
You and me both, James. You and me both.
But what was I gonna say? Crap, what was I? Oh yeah, that's right. Even when you first load up the first Turnabout, they somehow screwed up the opening music and sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, those are encoded into the audio and all other ports, so how did you screw that up? Like, sound effects are baked into the audio and all other ports, so how did you screw them up?
It's like, well, I mean, that kind of just the how could you screw this up kind of just goes for the entire iOS port, like, the whole iOS port, like just literally everything about it. Just how could you screw this up? But
Profile being a picture of Gumshoe and it has Edgeworth's description.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Seriously, he's not wrong.
It did what?
Trials and Tribulations also has what's his name? Case 3, Recipe for Turnabout Victim. Glenn Elg? Glenn Elg's face is on Maya's profile, and the age is from Godot, I think. It's very weird.
What?
Very
What
weird.
the heck? That just sounds like they were porting the
They
files
chimered
over
them.
directly from the DS and like didn't import them properly.
Yeah.
Also, the ending.
I mean,
to-
think about it. That can actually affect gameplay. That's how bad that is.
Yeah.
The ending to Farewell. They did not loop the plane flying correctly, so like 10 seconds before it ends, the plane just shoots back.
It goes all the way back. It just like resets
Oh,
like a
that's
GIF.
right.
Yeah,
I
like.
remember that.
Yee, that's not.
That's just something. That's just bad. Like that's just you clearly didn't test this at all.
Not to mention it interferes with the tone of the ending as well.
Yeah, just do. I must just knew. I'll see you later.
Or how about like when
You're
you're
not okay.
when you're about to catch Damon Gant in Rise from the Ashes mobile, he says, "Damon Gant, the killer you,"
The killer you.
for like the big dramatic moment. Literally
and then
says
let's not
that.
forget the iOS port had a bug where you had to draw the name in blood in exactly the correct order. Otherwise, it would give you a penalty.
And they never patched that.
Yeah, they never patched it out. Well, I mean, until they redid the port.
Of course, yeah, for 3DS.
But
yeah.
like that was I remember I had to Google that because I couldn't do it. I was like, what is going on? Why is this telling me I'm doing it wrong? And they were like, yeah, this is a common bug. Like you have to draw it in the exact correct order. Otherwise, it says
Look.
you're wrong.
Don't forget the quote-unquote remastered Rise from the Ashes security camera scene.
yeah.
What? Oh no, I don't remember it being. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
that was
they
the only
eventually
way I played that.
they eventually patched it out because they realized how bad it was, but they literally took PNGs and moved them up and down.
Oh my god. Oh, I remember that now. Yeah. Oh god, that was so terrible. I like how this entire stream went from talking about what's going on in the game to just being, hey, let's just completely wreck. Let's just dunk on the old iOS port.
It's
that
actually a bit of
nobody-
a stream tradition going off of the previous two.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we always it always has to come up at least at some point.
Yeah,
you know.
just we.
I think
have
it's
to
usually
dunk,
Nico.
man.
Nico loves ragging on the iOS port. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Oh,
I do
love
too.
bragging on the iOS port.
Yeah.
Too. It's great.
Yeah, it is.
It's gone too long without it.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like
Also,
more
another-
people should remember how bad it was.
Also, there are multiple instances where they forgot to add the code for the next line, so the text continues without properly spacing
Oh, I
for
remember
next
that.
line. Gosh. Like, but yet again, it could be that because it seems all the credits say it was, are all the companies that are in the credits besides Capcom are based in Taiwan. Not to say
Well,
that there's any.
I mean, look, outsourcing is one thing. Let's not get
Yeah.
into outsourcing for right now. I think that's
Yeah.
a bit of a that could be kind of a touchy subject, I think. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is clear that they did not get the same kind of love they would have gotten if it had been done in-house. I think we can agree because we
Yeah.
have the new ports as perfect proof of that. Although I actually don't think I ever checked the full credits. I don't think I ever paid too much attention to see whether or not there was any outsourced work done. You know, it could just be possible that they just, you know, didn't give much of a budget or didn't assign a very large team to the initial iOS port. You know, they could be perfectly competent developers, but it could just be, well, they were only given this much time and this much budget, so they just kind of had to cut some corners.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that the 3DS port was in development at the same time because they do use the same sheet. So I think Capcom just threw them the sheets that they made in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And some of the mistakes actually do carry over from the iOS port to the 3DS port. Some of them. They did fix a lot though. Oh.
And that's the end of the trial segment. All right.
Right.
Yep, an hour. Okay, we started the case
Yeah. so
an
this-
hour and 15 minutes ago.
Not too shabby.
I'm wondering if we should call it a bit early. Maybe today.
I was actually just about to mention I have to go off and do something.
Oh, okay.
So you're welcome to continue on without me, but this is the perfect time for me to
Yeah.
call it a stream here.
All right, then
Yeah.
feel free to head off. Thanks for joining us, James. Appreciate your
Yeah,
commentary.
sure thing.
Yeah.
It's been a blast.
Nice to meet you.
Yep, nice to see you guys
Yeah.
too.
Nice to see you, man.
See you, James.
Have a nice rest of the stream.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Wow, yeah, that's basically more or less, structurally at least, half of Turnabout Sisters. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it early. I've been really fatigued from working on Team Turnabout stuff, and I've got homework and IKG stuff to do. So I think
Yeah, get your rest, man.
I gotta call it here. Once again, if you're watching this, the Discord server's up. I'm sure we'll get that information out to more people with new episodes, but also once we get that community tab. So yeah, but consider this the soft launch with the public section. So please join us there. And yeah, I really appreciate everyone who took the time to watch this. But just for a little announcement, I'm going to be unlisting the streams because, again, just trying to keep the channel image very clean and not having a ton of uploads everywhere. But the stream playlist will be public. So if you're looking for stream replays, they'll be there. But otherwise, they'll be sort of out of the way. So I'll do that after this. Yeah. I thought that was another nice stream. I apologize for the rocky start and the false thumbnail, though. Trying to do better for that. So, yeah, I guess that's really it. Does anyone else have anything they would like to say? Okay.
Can't say that I do.
All right, well, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you soon for the next post to the Team Turnabout YouTube channel. Otherwise, we'll see you in the Discord server. Take care, everybody.